Welcome to the IRONMAN Insider Podcast presented by Morton. I'm your host, Matt Lieto. Today's guest is Fenella Langridge, one of the most exciting and authentic athletes in long course triathlon, known for her fearless racing style, aggressive biking, and ability to light up the front of major Ironman races. Fenella has built a reputation as someone who races on instinct and emotion as much as structure and data. She's had breakthrough wins and big performances on the world stage, and she's become a fan favorite for the way she brings honesty, personality, and gives a seemingly unfiltered look into her journey in triathlon. For better or for worse, right, Fenella? Super pumped to have Fenella with us today. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm really great, thank you, and thanks for the introduction. I was going to try and repeat it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. And
that was her test.
Yeah, I don't like saying nice things about myself, so... Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. We're quite similar in that fashion. Hype up
so
anybody else, but
yeah, no. Don't like pumping yourself up too much.
Let's not talk about me. It's too long a story.
Oh, why not?
Exactly.
You are part of IRONMAN. We need to talk about everybody, being as inclusive as possible.
Yeah, it's an honor for sure. So are you are prepping for a few races coming up, but you're in Mallorca, is that right?
Yeah, so I've been in Mallorca for 2 weeks now.
Sweet. And is that a spot you tend to go for big builds? I think a lot of us have like certain training zones that we go to for specific reasons. Where's Mallorca fit in for you?
Yeah, we always seem to gravitate back here. The island's got everything you could want or need. We've got the sea, we've got amazing facilities for swimming in the sea or at pools locally. The roads are incredible. You've got mountains, you've got flats, you've got a track, you've got hopefully most of the time sunshine, and it's just just a 2-hour flight from the UK. It's quite easy to jump on a plane and come here.
I know, right? Well, Mallorca, I've always wanted to go, and am I a fool?
I would have thought you had been.
No, never have. I was always waiting for somebody to like invite me and like say they'd pay for my trip or something, and sadly that didn't happen.
It starts here.
Yeah, but maybe we're trolling for anybody who wants to send me to Mallorca. Let's do it. But no, like tell me about it. Like it does look like if you were to design on like a computer file, perfect training environment, perfect roads to ride a bike on, all those things, that Mallorca really like just does scratch that itch, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it has that kind of Spanish laid back feel, and it's really friendly. It is getting busier and busier, but I think if you know where to go and what times to ride, and you're just respectful of everybody around you, it's just, it's really great. It's a beautiful place to be, and I think this is like our 10th year of coming, so there's got to be a reason why we keep coming back to train.
That's great.
Sometimes it's twice a year, and the last few years it's just been once, with more training camps overseas, like in America or Australia. So
yeah, that's awesome. And so like some people often think like, oh, professional triathletes, they got all the time in the world to train anyways. So like, why would we always go on camps? And what's different about a camp? And obviously weather and all that, but like, can you tell us a little bit about how, to me, it seems like people forget that like at home you've got tiny little responsibilities, right? But when you're like at an all-inclusive place in Mallorca, like all you're doing is like eat, sleep, train, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not often we come to a hotel, but the last few times when we come with our training group and we've come individually, we've come here to Port Blue, and like you say, it just takes all that excess stress away in terms of like sorry, I put that in inverted commas, going to buy food, or having to think about going to buy food, or cleaning up after you've eaten, or washing everything up, or having to do even a shorter commute that I think when I'm at home it takes me 25 minutes to get to the pool, so that's like a 50 minutes extra onto your day. I walk to the pool in 2 minutes.
Rad.
And the sea is literally, again, 2 minutes away. It just takes all the guesswork and all the nitty-gritty, time-consuming kind of energy zapping things away from you. It's not like I wouldn't want to do it for too long, because I do like home comforts and I do enjoy being at home, and I do enjoy cooking and things like just normal things. But when you want to solely think about just training and just being an athlete, it's nice just to completely switch off from all those extra stresses or extra chores that you have to do just to live. And so it's a good place to be.
No, that's awesome. And it seems like obviously you're gaining some momentum, and I want to talk about kind of everything that's brought you at this point in the season. But is it helpful to be in that environment? You talk about stressors, but like there's all sorts of other stressors and mental stressors and emotional stressors, and you're in this space that's caters to setting you up for success, right? So again, 2-minute walk to the pool. There's no excuse to not roll into the pool. Swimming in the sea always just doesn't feel like training to some extent, and those roads don't feel like training. So as you build into your next 2 races, maybe talk about those 2 races, like how are the vibes? Because I know it's always vibe check with you.
Yeah, the vibes are good.
Good.
I was I don't know, it's a hard word to say, struggling. It's like such a I'm not like, every athlete goes through little highs and lows, but the beginning of the year has been a bit more testing than I would have liked to have been. So I think we needed to come out here again just to really commit to it and really to build on it for the rest of the years, because I have had positive experience being in Mallorca before leading into races, and have had success coming off training here. So to get that feeling back and to get that enjoyment back, and like you say, I love swimming in the sea and I like being here, so training and has just felt that little bit easier. And then when things feel easier, things come better, and you perform or you train better, and the numbers or the sessions are slightly easier to hit because you're in a nice place and you don't mind swimming outside or riding the road that little bit harder. No worry of cars or other bits and bobs or potholes, probably.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it's and I appreciate how you answered that question. And I think, obviously, talked a little bit about your openness and everything that you've gone through, both like the very highs and the lows. And I think, giving yourself a little bit of grace and being okay to say struggle is, I think you deserve that at this point, because I think people underestimate, they look at, like start this conversation. Tell me about your training camp in Mallorca. Like it feels like a privileged life, which it is, but sport can be the most amazing experience, and it can be just a kick in the teeth. And when those things happen over and over again, when you're just like, okay, New Year's starting, it's going to be sweet. We got everything figured out. It's sweet. And then you get like hit on the other side of the face that you weren't expecting. Like it's tough. And I think that's why I love like your accessibility that you give fans and media to your real existence. Like you're not hiding the lows at the same time when you're showing us all the highs, right?
Yeah, and I'm not the only athlete who's going through troubles or who've had rough times and ultimately good times. The last few years maybe I've felt a few more lows than highs, but ultimately at the end of the day, I still really enjoy it all, and I still just want to come back, and I want to be on that start line and get that feeling that I had before, and I haven't quite found that yet, and so I'm still chasing those good vibes and that like positive feelings and those moments where I really feel like it's all come together or you're in the zone, and that might lead me to come I don't know, third, fourth, fifth, or it may
Sure.
lead me to winning. I don't really know at this point as the sport's evolving, but I'm still, still want to keep pursuing, keep pushing on, and I'll fight through those lower times or those stressful times just to a couple more attempts at those high moments.
Yeah, because those high moments make everything feel worth it when you get there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So and I won't dwell on it too long, but I think to give people context, can we talk a little bit about your diagnosis last year and kind of how you got to that point? Because obviously, our sports, what's so hard about the sport is it celebrates toughness, which it should, and pain tolerance. And, people ask, what's your strength as an athlete? I was like, just stubbornness and pain tolerance. Like, that's kind of it, right? And like, it has to be a strength to be able to do well at Ironman racing. But then when something that you can't see comes up that's draining you, there's a period where I'm sure you're just like, I just need to toughen up. Like, what's going on? Like, I know I feel tired, but like there's all these question marks. And maybe tell us a little about that and how that felt, and then coming into kind of your diagnosis.
Yeah, so it's actually strange. I was thinking about it I often come back and think about it, but the other week, because we were here 2 years ago when I guess the symptoms were initially coming on, and I was doing rides and I was climbing up hills, and then suddenly like my leg just didn't feel like they were responding, and I was like, oh, I'm just tired, and then I'd be okay the next day, and then the day after again it would be like something's not quite right and I can't put my finger on it. And it was kind of, maybe at that point in time it was every other session I'd just feel a little bit off, or like I'd try and climb up a hill out of my saddle and suddenly my leg would be like full of lactate, or now I know it was full of lactate, or it was full of fatigue, but at the time I just thought, oh, okay, I'm just a little bit off today. And so we at that point we were constantly second guessing everything that we were doing in training. There wasn't weeks where we'd write a plan and I would stick to it. So consistency, the biggest word that we all love in triathlon, there was none of it for probably over a year and a half. And looking back now in hindsight, there's no wonder I couldn't perform, or it's taken me a while or a little bit longer for me to get back, because I've almost had a year and a half of like detraining, as I just couldn't string weeks back to back. And as the years went on, we then thought I was just really fatigued. I was overdoing it. I was maybe doing a little bit too much traveling, and we took weeks off just to like recover and do what we thought was right. Did blood tests and still not quite getting the answer we were looking for. Then I had one more, I think at the beginning of which year? I had it 25. So at the beginning of 25 we went out to race Ironman New Zealand, and at that point it was just every session there was interruptions, and I couldn't go on a run without like feeling like I was cramping. And we sought out advice from a sports doctor over there who knew instantly what it was, and we were like, oh my gosh, it all makes sense. This last year and a half is just like, ugh.
Yeah, and at that point, is it all like obviously getting a diagnosis like that, is maybe scary to a certain extent, but then it's like all these, as you said, all these tests and all the second guessing. Was it a huge relief, or was there still was it kind of daunting because it was something else we knew we had to kind of recover from?
Yeah, it was a bit of both. Yeah. It was, honestly, it just made everything so much clearer, and like it was like almost kicking ourselves. Why didn't we think about this sooner? But at that time we didn't know many other athletes, and we asked different physios or different people, but just because they'd never had experience with it before they didn't think to diagnose it, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just the situation that we were in. And then there was the scary thought of, what do I do next? This isn't just no surgery should be taken lightly, but you're cutting open a major artery, and I felt really almost like selfish or privileged to be having this decision when it's not like I've got a life treat, or it's not like I'm dying or anything like that. I'm choosing to put myself in this situation, which could go wrong. There are lots of things that could happen. It might not work. It wasn't an easy decision to make, but now looking back, I'm glad I made it.
Yeah, totally. And it's always scary when somebody has you count backwards when there's a bunch of faces and masks standing above you. That never feels good. So.
I remember I was talking to the anaesthetist. I was like, what happens when you're unders? Like, do you have dreams or anything? He's like, no, you just wake up thinking about what you were thinking about before. And I was
wild.
Oh, and then within a second it's crazy. It's such an odd experience going under. And it was on Saturday, it was a year ago on Saturday that I had surgery. Yeah. That's crazy.
Quite an anniversary. And so when did the symptoms, when you look back at it, because obviously like you probably like your perception of things not feeling right maybe lagged from hindsight, being able to look back and see when it started. Was that early 2024, like pre-Oceanside stuff, or when did that start?
Yeah, it would have been pre-Oceanside. So like early 24, then all of that season. So I went to Oceanside, Texas, Hamburg, and then I personally think it caused me to tear my calf, but obviously you don't really know. And then I tore my calf, went to Ironman Worlds in Nice. And then after that it was
it's hard. It's so hard because you see, like, I was lucky enough to commentate the race in Oceanside, and watching you battle, I believe, with Paula on the bike.
It was.
And you could tell, like, it's hard because you do put yourself out there when you race and you go hard, and like sometimes it works for most people and sometimes it doesn't work for most people. So it was hard to differentiate, but you didn't see that like resiliency necessarily from you in that race. And then it seemed like the timing was brutal, because even I was like, dude, Fenella, first year Ironman Pro Series, like this is right up her alley. And I know you were pumped about it. So it's like you have this incapacity to a certain extent to be able to absorb and build and train, and you're kind of quote unquote chasing this thing that you wanted to do. But it seemed like you were smart enough early-ish to realize that you kind of had to put the Pro Series aside. Is that right?
Yeah. It was just a challenging year. Nothing seemed like, I don't know. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Like, professionally, it wasn't very good. But then I look back and I still had some of the most fun and traveling around and going to Oceanside and going to Nice with Hannah and Nick, and then like the results were never like, they were there or thereabouts, but I was nothing was ever felt good or was particularly stand out. I was just a bit meh. Which is understandable now. So professionally it was just a bit of a year, and we didn't really understand why, and we thought, okay, just take a long off season and then build into New Zealand, and then obviously things became more clear after that. But it was still a fun year. Traveling and racing, and I suppose I still learned stuff that year that I wouldn't have known before. But it was a shame with the Pro Series, because at that point, if the years, maybe it was a year earlier, or if it was now, it just started, I think it would be completely different how I'd be feeling about it going in and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, and I mean, and again, I'm not trying to just like focus on this, but I think this is a very important part because I see like similar success coming to you, right? So that like you got to tell the story you got to come back from, right? To be able to like really absorb and celebrate like what you're going to do in the next few years. And like I think to me it's your career is interesting because I think some people looked at when you got on like the quote unquote world stage was that Kona performance, in 2022. But in reality, you look back, like I think your first 70.3 win was what, 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. So you had this resume of continuing to be consistent and having people with that thought that was your first step on the world stage at high performance were not paying attention, right? Because you had a lot of big performances before that, but it seemed like that helped with some confidence or just a part of your career where things really started clicking. And then you see, winning WA the year after that, having that breakthrough, South Africa, second place that same year. And when you look back and, I've seen a lot of athletes come and go from the sport, and it's like the person that has had that consistent build, when they have even the struggles that you've had, there's that you don't lose everything, right? Like you don't lose what you built that entire time. And like a lot of what you've gained and what you and Billy have built throughout your career is that consistency, as you said, but this mental fortitude to be able to, as you keep putting out, looking at the silver lining, right? Like we're talking about this time when in moments in 2024, I'm sure it was as low as you could get. But you look back and you're like, oh, dude, we had sweet times. We were hanging out with Hannah and Nick, and like that's rad. Like, and you're experiencing that, and then you'll be able to go back to those spaces as you build into, more success down the road. And I want to talk a little bit about the signs that are showing that you're coming back, right? And like we never know where we're going to get again, but like you seemingly in New Zealand, there were downsides, and we can talk about that as well. But like, let's talk about, is it like consistency starting to come back around again? If you're just a year from a surgery like that, and again, with your knowledge of being like, man, we had a year and a half where we weren't consistent, you've now been able to build back up from that. How are you starting to feel? Like, are you seeing those kind of pillars and those steps to be able to get you, back to your goal, which is feeling good at the end of a finish line?
Yeah, definitely. And I think going back to Kona 2022, I did have performances that were very good before then, but that was a point, I think, in my career where I felt I really belonged, or like I could be really competitive. And that, like I say, success builds success, and that springboards, and it does help. And I think as soon as I get one performance like that under my belt, it will just roll and roll and roll and roll. So I'm looking for hopefully that in the next couple of weekends, just to set that foundation forward. And I feel like I am in a similar place. Like say Bill and we look back at what we did previously, and we've done, well, maybe 4 or 5 weeks of consistent consistent training. There it's been like high 20s, and for me, I quite like volume, and I've been able to just do it week on week on week, and hit sessions that I don't think I've ever even done before, or even believed I could do before.
Rad.
And so I definitely know I'm in a good place, but I feel like you just need that initial first, not win, but performance to help me believe and to like propel it forward, and you get that rolling momentum, because once you're on that high, it just keeps on going and going and going. And you see it in other sports as well, not just triathlon, like golf, and we do watch a lot of golf, so maybe I'm just thinking about that, but like football, once you feel like you're in a good place and you're on top of it, the as success comes and it keeps going and going and going. Well, you see it with Christian and Kat. They just walk into a race and they've already got that positive feelings from a couple of weeks before. So yeah, I'm just looking for that.
Yeah, and I think it all comes from different places, right? Like, Christian and Kat can look at the results that they've been able to do because out of consistency, right? But if they can look back at those results of these big races that they've had, and I love that you brought it up, but you can look back at these results of the training that you've had, right? And then you build that consistency and you build positivity from those trainings, and then you start having that in races. And for you, as you kind of pointed out, it's the first feel of that might not be winning a championship race. It might be crossing the finish line fourth, but knowing that your body felt like your body again, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think because it's been a couple of years where I just haven't quite had that feeling or sensation that I know is within me, and I'm definitely feeling it when I'm out and about training. So it's just translating that into a race, which is easier said than done, but we've got to give it a go.
Totally. And I think there's a lot to kind of unpack from that, but to me it seems another part that I imagine could possibly build for you to gain that confidence is that the thing that I noticed from the moto the most, and you can see me doing it already in Kona, was like you throwing the shakas and stuff, and you're like, at the time you're at the front of the biggest race in the world. Again, a lot of people didn't really expect you to be able to stay up front as long as you can, but you're swapping turns at the lead and you're like having a great stinking time. And it seems like for you, having a great time snowballs, and like results come out of that, training comes out of that, results come out of that, and like that has to be something that's building from like that season, year and a half of like, you just simply can't have good vibes all the time when you get kicked in the teeth, right? So like, is that energy seems to be building for you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to like racing with my peers again and really like getting stuck in and sharing turns and being like a gritty, hard, like racing up hills kind of energy. And hopefully throw a few shakas as well, and just like enjoy the atmosphere. And like you train so often on your own, and it's those moments where in the races where you can really like express yourself and just celebrate the sport and the people around you. And it's just, it's like a show that you put on when you get onto the start of a race.
No, that's sweet. I think it's cool because so many different athletes have different ways to succeed, right? And like not everybody's, like some people are robotic and like they have to do their thing, and like if you looked from the outside you would assume they're not having any fun at all, but that's what and has them be successful. And it's great seeing you building into that space, because like I think I saw a post not too long ago from you that said worry less, post more. And it's like you're like, it's clear that you're finding that, and you don't seem to be someone that forces it on that stage, right? So it's cool to see you wanting to throw some shakas.
Yeah, no, it is. I wouldn't do it because I felt like I had to. I just do it because I just want to, and I want other people to enjoy it just as much as I am at the time. And even when I'm not, maybe doing it will make someone else smile that makes you smile, and just like shared energy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like I used to get that racing too. People are like, dude, take it more seriously, or Leo's joke around too much. It's like, no, dude, like if I'm going through an aid station, I'm like joke around with somebody because it's fun and it builds you up, and it's like, what are we out here doing anyways, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it just makes someone else's day, it makes your day better, and hopefully give you an extra boost of energy. Like when someone shouts your name, and it's built such a good, because I did that in Kona, we built a brand around it, and I feel like just makes people realize that you don't have to, obviously it's fine if that's how you want to race,
Sure.
but I want others to race individually and however they want to, and with passion and energy, and just for the love of sport rather than from the numbers that they see in front of them.
That's great. It shows that you appreciate the life path you're on, and that's awesome. Performance runs on fuel, and carbohydrates power endurance, in training and on race day. Fueling well isn't just about racing. It's how you train harder, recover better, and build the adaptations that lead to stronger performance when it counts. Morton's patented hydrogel technology delivers the carbohydrates you need while staying easy on the stomach, carrying fuel through the stomach to where it's absorbed, helping reduce GI issues often caused by traditional sports fuels. And it's available on course at all global Ironman and Ironman 70.3 races. Okay, so I'd be remiss, because I'm kind of like, people give me crap for this because I'm always kind of talking about the shaka, because I spend a lot of time in Hawaii. So like, what's your shaka? Because there's there's a few different kinds. I think maybe we talked about it in the past. So give me your shaka. There you go. Yeah. So it's a super
yeah.
super tight.
Isn't there like
shaka.
a loose one?
Yeah, like the locals like this is
it's
kind
not
of
really
like the shaka. But it's basically if you broke your pinky and you were like showing somebody that you broke your pinky,
look at this.
Man, I think I broke my pinky. It's just like so relaxed. You got like not even sure that you're doing it. So I like that this one's got more energy behind it. This one's a little too like that's recovery mode maybe. Is the super
after race with a few beers.
Yes.
Not when you get some energy out of it.
Totally. That's great. So on a larger scale, and kind of I referenced this before, like obviously in races, you get a lot out of giving energy, and you seem very unique. And again, your transparency on, YouTube channel, Instagram, and all that, like sharing your experience. And it was easy to do probably in 2022. 2023, right? Like where you're like, yeah, sweet, like life's great, like everything's cool. And you had that transparency and you brought everybody along on that journey. Does that give you like a little bit more you're more satisfied because of that? And how hard was it for you at all to share the downsides, right? Because I can see for you already that you're humble in the way that you're like, okay, this is my struggle, but like everybody else has more things going on, right? Like, or everybody's got their own thing. So like, let's not make this seem like the biggest deal in the world. Like, was it hard for you to have that transparency? But like for you, it was a very important and like tough time.
Yeah, I think it was. I think for that reason, I don't want to feel like a negative Nancy. Yeah. And that like those, well, for the last year and a half, it felt like a bad news or a bad scenario or an excuse at the time after an excuse, and it was kind of like wearing away at the good vibes, and it was quite hard to try and keep that positivity when things didn't feel like they were going your way. And you always, I think everyone always has that point where it's just getting beat into the ground, and when you didn't know answers, it did feel quite low. The diagnosis was quite cool or like I was happy to share it, but it was quite hard because not many people really understood what it was, or probably still didn't quite understand what the impact of it had over the previous years. But yeah, I don't like to I'd much rather, obviously, like most people, share positive things, but I think it's good to be able to articulate when things haven't been going as well, and if there's a reason why you're not quite as yourself, because everyone does go through those moments, and it does make the good times feel better, and for the whole people who are in your circle and who are rooting for you, if they knew why or what you've come from and where you're going to.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think also what we, maybe forget or don't pay as much attention to, kind of what we referenced earlier, in like the fact that the sport needs mental toughness and like pushing through pain, and that it kind of like embraces it or celebrates it, is that with all those people, clearly there's a bunch of folks that have their eyes on you, that look up to you and your great performances and are trying to emulate that in their own racing and training. And for them to see someone have that experience, maybe it's like it's showing them, hey, when things aren't feeling normal, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to look into things. It's okay to like take care of yourself. And it's not always more is better. It's, sometimes stepping back, giving your body a chance to rest and recover, and like have some perspective on, how you're moving through the season, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone's journey is slightly different, and how you approach things should be different as well, regardless of if you're a pro, an age grouper, or a beginner. Not everyone's journey is going to be the same, so I guess highlighting the differences in each individual is good, even though it is sometimes challenging to share what you don't really want to share.
Totally. But yeah, so the positives coming, and like, we see that, and obviously saw personally from the outside, New Zealand, you 2 years ago probably would have been, not stoked with that performance, and maybe a part of you would have hoped to have more this year. But it looks like from the outside, it's like all like triathlon on a world championship level and on a high performance level throughout the season and the pro series, it's these little markers and steps that you need to kind of be able to hit and manage to show that the training is where it is, and that you can continue to move forward from there. For me, looking at New Zealand, it was clear you had made steps up, and I don't want to go into, unless you want to, kind of the negative sides of it, but it shows that you had like all the numbers are there for you to be able to move forward and have kind of this comeback that we're talking about. And you talk about your training and kind of what's been, some sessions that are better than others. Can you tell us a little bit about like what's the last training session where you finished and in your head you went like, yes, like what session?
Yeah.
What session was that? Yeah, totally.
So actually at Ironman Western Australia, a couple of days before the race, I fell off as my front end slid off. I thought I was fine, but through the beginning or the end of last year and the beginning of this year, I've been really struggling with my bike and feeling confident in my bars, and that was the big issue in Ironman New Zealand, and there's no hiding away from it. It was pretty embarrassing at the time, but I just couldn't build up the confidence to get into aero, which in a race like that, or in any pro field, or in an age group field, you're losing time and energy, and it was what it was. And so, like, considering that, it was an okay performance, seeing as I probably gave away 10 minutes or so and still was in the mix enough. And I ran good the first half, and then legs fell off the second half. But looking back, maybe we probably didn't do quite as much running volume. It was March, so yeah. And then I've had to work quite hard on that the last few months, and it's been going really well.
Right.
So I've had some really good bike sessions. We did an amazing ride last Wednesday. Actually, it probably wasn't amazing, like, numbers-wise, but it was just such a cool ride. And if you ever do come to Mallorca, you need to do it. We rode all the way through the middle of the island, and then you ride the MA10 road, which is a 112 kilometer road that goes all the way from the south of the island to the north of the island, and it's all the way through the mountain region. And it's the most spectacular road that you could ever ride, and it's got a stupid amount of elevation. And it was a 207k ride in total. That,
Right.
like, numbers wise, it wasn't great, but it was just amazing to do. And it was, yeah.
And I imagine it seems like you felt like yourself on that ride.
Yeah, it was. And energy was good the whole day. We stopped for lunch and then just carried on. And then just in the middle of a good training week, to put that in the middle of it was really cool. And one of the things that you're like, might not ever get to do it again. So I may as well just do it now while I'm fit and healthy and I have the energy to do it.
That's great. And I have, for the record, I have heard of the M10, so it's definitely one out there. And I will go back to your New Zealand performance just for a second and pump you up a little bit, because I feel like that field was bananas, right? Like, I think there were like 4 or 5 world championship top 10 athletes that were in front of you for you to get 8th place. And I think, you look at that run, you say you haven't done enough, maybe long training, and that certainly is probably true. But if you're on, like, not in your aero bars for that whole thing, like, obviously your numbers were good, but there's so much what people underestimate at that speed with that aerodynamics. There's a lot of micro, like, rest, and, like, you're pushing your power in a different way when you're at high speed. You're just kind of like continuing the momentum. But when you're pushing against the wind that whole time on a course like New Zealand, where it already feels like you're riding in sand, kind of, to some extent, and it's an amazing course, and like one of the best, I'm sure you agree, one of the best Ironmans out there, but it's not as fast. It takes more energy. So for you to be able to have, and that's what I was looking at, for you to be able to have that run, which we know you're capable of more, but to have it in those conditions, considering what you were doing, to me was quite impressive, and one of those things that shows that you have it all in there, especially when you add it to like a ride that you had recently. Like, we know you've got it, and it's coming back, and that's exciting.
Thank you, but it was pretty embarrassing.
It's okay.
It's okay. I can say it now. Like, well, hopefully it's I'm feeling a lot more confident and myself on the bike. It's just your brain, it does crazy things that you don't want it to do.
Totally. And that's
bigger organ than you think.
It really is. And kind of my point is, and I want to hammer it home, a lot of athletes in that situation wouldn't have continued to push as hard as they can for the rest of the day, right? So I applaud you for that and appreciate it, because when the world's watching, it's hard sometimes. But so what are you, now that we feel this good momentum going and the positive vibes, good vibes only, what are you most excited about for this season?
Cool. Hopefully giving Kona another crack.
Sweet.
So before that I've got IRONMAN Hamburg, which I'm really excited to go back to. With doing it once before, it looks like the field is going to be pretty strong, but you can only race the race that's in front of you. So I'm excited to give that another go. But I honestly, like, sessions have been going well. I'd like to just perform. It sounds very cliche, but just perform to what I'm capable of. The field's definitely changed, and the dynamic of racing's changed since, I say I was out of triathlon, but I didn't feel like I was in it.
Sure.
So just like learning and getting in the mix again, and feel like I'm actually being competitive rather than just a bit of a spare moving part in a race. Just like to be in races and feel like you're making a difference to the outcome, and hopefully changing the dynamics of it by pushing a little bit harder or just contributing in some way. Because it was hard lying in. I remember being in the hospital, or actually I think I was just home from hospital last year and watching Ironman Hamburg. And obviously it was one of the best races of the year to watch with Solveig and Kat and Laura, and just thinking, oh, I could have been there. So just to be back there will be really cool.
Yeah, no more FOMO, right? And it's hard because it's FOMO on like what you feel like you could do in that race, but it's also like, and I'm getting from you, like it's a little like camaraderie, right? You're like, yeah, I want to like take polls and get to the front, right?
And to contribute somehow to world record performances, or these amazing races that will go down in history. Like that's why it was so nice to be at Kona this year. I know I wasn't racing, but to be there commentating and just feeling involved and being part of my peers and getting behind them and rooting for them on the sidelines.
Yeah, no, it's special too, and you did a great job of it. So it was fun watching you have fun out there. It's a pretty unique experience, right?
Yeah, it was. I think I definitely learned a lot. But it was cool to see it from the other side, but maybe not. Hopefully not this year.
Yeah, totally. And you got another race this weekend, right?
Yeah, Aix-en-Provence.
Yeah,
probably completely butchered that.
I was going to let you say it, not me.
Yeah, probably something along those lines.
Yeah, no, I think that
my GCSE French probably doesn't quite stretch it.
That's awesome. We excited about that one. Obviously, beautiful location, and another stacked field, obviously.
Yeah, really excited. I've raced it a couple of times. It was my first ever Ironman Pro race, so nice to like go back. Completely different athlete now to them, but it should be really good. Obviously, my training is geared towards Hamburg, but it doesn't mean that I can't give it a good go, give it 100%, see how everything's coming together, and just hopefully another step in the right direction and get that race sensations back, and like I said before, just contribute to the race and hopefully have fun with some cool people and run and cycle as fast as I can.
Yep, and throw some tight jackets out there while you're
at it. Yeah. On the uphills though, so it's quite a lot
Got to stay aero on the flats, right? Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Well, super excited to watch that, and genuinely excited to see, because I feel it and I can see the energy coming back into you, and excited to see the results come back your way. And I'm going to let you go in a second, but I've kind of been doing recently some kind of quick Q&A. First thing that comes to your mind. You can't overthink it. And I won't do too many on you, but let's start off easy.
Pressure.
If you could teleport one training location in every season forever, where are we going?
Say that again?
If you could teleport one training location, like where you go training camp, into any season, whenever you wanted it, where were you going?
Well, Mallorca.
Okay, easy answer.
In the summer.
This podcast brought to you by Mallorca Tours. Okay, what's the most pro triathlete thing about you, and the least pro triathlete thing about you?
I like swimming.
Yeah.
Because most people don't. I talked to someone the other day, like, oh my God, I hate swimming. I'm like, no, I quite like it. Give me a pool. Awesome. Give me the sea. The least. Just probably my lack of enthusiasm about numbers.
Oh, there you go.
I'm really not that bothered. Just tell me, like, go ride hard, or like, I'm just not a numbers person.
I'm right there with you. Absolutely.
Not a math person.
Okay. Yeah, no, I feel that. Okay, if triathlon disappeared tomorrow, what sport are you obsessively getting into next?
Probably something like surfing
Oh, cool.
or
The most shaka sport there is.
yeah, or like golf for the money. Although like now I know more about golf, I think it's just as hard as like Tour de France because they're playing Thursday to Sunday, so like 5 days in a row, 18 holes, and they're doing that like nearly every other weekend. I'm like, oh, that's quite intense.
Dude, I'm gonna mark that for every pro golfer is gonna like cut this and be like, oh man, this Ironman champion said playing golf is the hardest thing he can do.
Well, not.
That's awesome.
I mean,
No,
at
I get it.
the top level, like maybe not
Yeah,
your,
I
but
love
yeah.
it. I love it. No, that's perfect. That's great. And I don't disagree. What's one thing younger Fenella would be shocked that you're good at now?
I'm good at now. Just triathlon. I never thought I'd be a professional athlete. I just
Yeah,
thought I'd end up being nothing wrong with being a teacher. I think I will end up being a teacher one day,
right.
but just being a teacher or going into like nursing or something like that. So I never thought I'd actually be an athlete and be traveling the world.
Yeah, it's pretty special. What would you teach if you went back to teaching?
Or just sport, obviously.
Sport. Great.
But yeah.
Not math. Not math.
No, definitely. Or art. Or maybe textiles or like cooking or something like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? This is why I love triathlon moment lately.
Oh, sorry. Maybe one or two. That ride that we said was
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
like, wow. Like, I have to be able, not many people have the fitness to be able to do something like that. So just like gratitude to be able to be out here and do that. And then obviously I got to watch Mallorca 70.3, which is the largest Ironman, I think, in the world. They have like
Yeah,
5,000 athletes, and obviously majority of them are like first timers. And just watching them race was just like, oh my god, this is why you do triathlon. It's like, and like all shapes and sizes, like,
yeah,
and the people that you think, oh, they must be on there, like they're only just started the run, and then they turn around to the finish, and like, oh my god, how the hell did you just do that
yeah.
so quick? Or like, I don't know, it's quite
It,
amazing.
yeah, isn't that wild how and maybe not everybody's that way, but how that can like reinvigorate your love for the sport. And I think
Yeah,
it's got to be rad for those people to see too, because I think sometimes amateurs or people just getting across the finish line, they're like consistently obviously inspired like from athletes like you that are at the very top. But it's the exact
yeah,
same for you, right? Like it's like, oh wait, this is why we do this thing. It's freaking awesome.
yeah. To see them finish and get so excited, it's just like should be excited just to start or finish a race. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. And yeah, really excited for you the rest of the year and super
Thank
pumped to
you.
see the momentum rolling back and the good vibes coming back your way. And appreciate the time tonight.
Thank you. Cheers. Have a great day.
Love talking to Fenella. That was awesome. You know, one of the personalities in the sport that, again, kind of lets us all look in and see what she's going through and appreciate her being transparent in that experience and here today, and really excited to see what comes for her in the next year or two as she gets back to kind of that fighting spirit that she had before. It's good to see that twinkle in her eye again. To stay across the latest in the Ironman Pro Series news, follow at Ironman Try on Instagram and check out proseries.ironman.com for standings, athlete bios, episodes of A Fighting Chance, replays of all the races, and more. Of course, I also want to thank our presenting sponsor, Morton, the official sports performance nutrition partner of the Ironman Global Series. Not only do they fuel Ironman athletes on course, they fuel us here on the Ironman Insider. And if you liked our conversation, please like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. And if you're on the trainer, you can watch the podcast on Ironman Triathlon YouTube channel. Thanks so much for joining us on the Ironman Insider Podcast. Be sure to keep an eye on this space for more great conversations as the season continues. I'm your host, Matt Lieto. Thanks so much for listening in.